Welcome to another Cardinals Nest here on HBC TV 25. This is the show devoted exclusively to St. Mary's University and its athletic programs. I'm Dean Beckman, joined once again by Sports Information Director Donnie Netto. Donnie, we have a great show lined. Coming up a little bit later on in the program, we'll bring in Becca Dup from the track and field team, record-setting Becca Dup. She's setting all kinds of records in the indoor and outdoor track and field seasons, and we'll talk with Becca a little bit later on.
It'll be fun to pick her brain a little bit on that because it really is impressive what she's able to do throughout the season. We talk a lot about student athletes who have maybe a fall and a spring sport, but she's doing it all 3 seasons, and that certainly can't be easy.
Yeah, you notice Donnie said we'll track her down. I think I'm starting to rub off on him a little bit. So that'll be a little bit later on in the program. First, though, we'll take a look back at St. Mary's University athletics this past week. And Donnie, let's start with baseball. They're 0 for 2 in trying to get a game scheduled with St. Thomas. They were supposed to go up there on Tuesday. That didn't work out. They were supposed to go on Wednesday. That's been rained out. Maybe Thursday is the charm.
The forecast looks good for Thursday. And you know, we talk a lot about this on this show, and when you're dealing with spring sports, and I know Coach Winnicke spends more time on the Weather Channel than any other website, but you know, it's the nature of spring in Minnesota. But they made it all the way through March, not one reschedule in the probably the worst month. And then we get to April, and they've got snow. They get snowed out on Tuesday, and now they got rained out on Wednesday, and hopefully Thursday will be better, and they'll be able to get that doubleheader. And I know Coach Winnicke wants to get back into playing. They struggled a little bit against St. John's, losing both of those games on Saturday. So he wants to get the guys back on the diamond, and the more you back them up, now they'll play Thursday, and then they have to go right away again on Saturday. So it certainly makes it a little bit more difficult, especially with your pitchers when those games get backed up to almost back-to-back like they will be this week.
Right, and I'm glad you said that Coach Winnicke wants to get back out there. You know what a competitor he is, and they're coming off of a split against Gustavus and then a doubleheader loss at St. John's. So there's no question he wants to get back into the conference and try to get back on the winning track. St. John's won the conference tournament last year, a very good team again this year. And St. Mary's, in all of these games, they're right there. They just haven't been able to pull out some close ones late.
Yeah, no question. And you know, it's one of those things that you really can't put your finger on what exactly is the difference. You look at that first game against St. John's, they lose it 16-8. They were up 4-0 after their first at bat. And you know, St. John's comes back and scores 4 in the bottom of the first and then 8 in the second to kind of take charge. But you know, the important thing with this team is they continue to bounce back. The second game was a great game, went right down to the wire, a 5-4 final. And, you know, this team is going to battle. And I think that one of the things you kind of forget with this group is how young they really are. You've got a lot of people playing, not necessarily freshmen, but you've got a lot of people playing that maybe didn't play as much last year or even the year before. And so, you know, it takes time. And I know I can keep saying that, and it sounds cliche-ish, but it does take time to mesh as a unit. They've got probably pretty much half their season left to go. And so I know that Coach Winnicke, as you said, is eager to get back out there and get this ship righted and get this team going in the right direction. I still say that in 2 weeks when we're talking again on this show, we're going to be talking playoff positioning and where we're going to fit into that picture because there's a lot of baseball to be played. This team is very, very talented, and they're going to put together a very good winning streak coming up here that's going to propel them right back into the playoff picture.
Yeah, the offense seems to be keeping them in the games because they have about 8 players who see regular at-bats that are batting above 300. One I want to talk about, you mentioned freshman earlier, and that's Will Matthews. Will is batting .365, a significant number of at-bats. He's up around 75 at-bats now for the season. So, you know, there's a good track record now of what he's able to do. So certainly the offense has been there. Now they just need to get some consistent pitching.
Yeah, no question. When you talk about the offense of this team you mentioned Will Matthews and Joey Costello, second baseman, another freshman who's doing very well. You've got Jake Berry at first base, and Jake had 2 home runs against St. John's. Joe Seegers at shortstop is a phenomenal defensive shortstop, but also is hitting above 300. And then you look at the outfield with Slowiak, Berkeley, and Kinney, and you know, the lineup is just laden with people that you know, are very talented offensively. And I like to look at the defense of this team, and they are a team that's going to continue to get better and better. You've got Will at the hot corner at third, and you got Joey at second, and as those people get more comfortable playing the collegiate game, it's going to make them even that much better, because right now they are a very solid team. Like you said, they've just got to find a way to put it all together. And pitching is part of that. You know, you can sugarcoat it all you want. You can't give up 16 runs in a game and expect to win. And you know, that's where they've got to shore that up. They've got to get good pitching, and you know, if they can continue to do that, get great starts. Wolf has been doing a great job pitching. Josh Ottinger is doing a nice job. R.J. Brown, we've talked about him a lot. So, you know, the one I like to talk about is Chris Bartos. He's done a really nice job. Didn't play last year, came back this year. He's doing a great job at the plate and also on the mound. So he's another one that's doing a really solid job for the Cardinals this year.
So let's switch over to softball now, and the softball team, a doubleheader at the University of St. Thomas, always difficult, and it's sort of the opposite thing going on with the softball team right now. Defensively, they've been able to stay in a lot of the games, but their offense right now is struggling, and that showed in a doubleheader loss to St. Thomas when the Cardinals failed to score a run in either game.
Yeah, no question. And anytime you play St. Thomas, you know you're going to be facing a very good pitcher, and that's one of Coach Cheetah's, you know, his trademark is outstanding pitching, and certainly it happened again against us with a 3-0 and a 6-0 loss for the Cardinals. And but you're right. Right now, the Cardinals have got to get their offense going. You know, we talk about those 2 shutout losses, and then they turn around. First game against St. Olaf, again against a very, very good pitcher. They lose 3-0, and then lost the nightcap 6-5 in a game that they were leading 5-1. So that was a tough one for them to lose. But they've got to continue to get that offense going. Ashley Betzold and Amber Trundle are doing a very good job in the pitcher circle. Ashley's been the workhorse for 4 years now, and continues to do an outstanding job. And Amber Trundle is really doing a nice job of kind of giving Ashley some time off. You know, it's important, and we've talked about it so many times, that you can't really just rely on one pitcher if you're going to be successful in the MIAC, just because you wear out, you get tired. And so Amber's doing a nice job. She pitched very well early on against St. Olaf in that 6-5 loss. Unfortunately, she tired a bit in the end, and St. Olaf came up with 3 home runs for their 6 runs, and you know, it came out as a 6-5 loss. But I think if those two can continue to pitch well, and Coach Miller can get a way to get that offense going. Brittany Burkhauser is doing very well. Kathy Opsahl, one that I like, is she's really been very good offensively for her 3 years that she's been at St. Mary's. But defensively this year, she's been outstanding in right field. I mean, she's making plays out there that really are, you know, cliche-ish, but ESPN top 10 type catches, and they're going to need that, because you know, she's got to continue to play good in the outfield, and you know, Callie Aldrich is playing very well. Allie Borowski. It's just a matter, as with the baseball team, we got to get it all together. We got to get that good pitching performance, and when you get that good pitching performance, and you look at the game 1 losses to St. Thomas and St. Olaf, 3-0 losses. Get a little bit of offense, all of a sudden it's a 3-2 game. It's a whole different game when you're playing a team, no matter who it is, if it's a 1-run game or you know, very close game late. But you got to get that offense going. You're not going to win any games if you don't score any runs.
All right, conference games remaining. Hopefully they can get back on the right track, which they did in that the second game of that doubleheader against St. Olaf, when they got 5 runs.
Yeah, no question. And that's what they're going to carry over to the Gustavus game on Thursday. Hopefully that's what they're going to carry over. Is they need some confidence. You know, if you get shut out 3 games in a row, it certainly is going to weigh on your confidence. But this is a good group of individuals, and they're very talented. They've got to start believing in themselves and believing in what the coaches are telling them, and it's going to turn around. And I really believe that you know, this is a team that certainly can make a good push here toward the second half of the season, and really end up with a very solid season.
Yep, absolutely. So let's switch things over now to tennis. And in men's tennis, it was a hard-fought battle against St. Olaf this past weekend. The Cardinals come out on top in that men's tennis matchup, 6-3. I think outlasting the Oles is kind of the best way to describe that match.
No question. It was a great 6-3 win for them. You look at that match, as you said, they take a 2-1 lead after the doubles and then get huge 3-set singles wins from Alex Zuzek and Robbie Sobczak to seal that win. And you know, that 5-6 singles, Zuzek and Sobczak have been playing really, that's a tongue twister there, boy, have been playing really well, and they're going to continue to, you know, we're talking about some young players, so they're going to continue to do very well. You look at this team, top to bottom, they've got one senior on it, and that's Andrew Johnson, and other than that, they've got some very talented junior class, and then the young people, Bobby Tiedemann and Robbie Sobczak as freshmen are playing extremely well, and I think that will continue not only the end of this year, but on into the future. And so, I mean, you look at Robbie; he's won 8 of his last 11 singles wins or singles matches, and Bobby and Brendan Amiat have teamed up in doubles, playing very well at number 2 doubles. And I think that, you know, it's one of those things in doubles. We talked to Coach Hallberg last week. You gotta kind of find your combinations, and that's one that really has worked for him this year. And they're playing extremely well right now.
Yep, as is the women's tennis team. They also took on St. Olaf this past weekend, and a 7-2 win for the Cardinals there. Really coming out again toward the stretch run and dominating the Oles.
Yeah, no question. And as we talked to Coach Hallberg, very important. They had two conference matches left when we talked to Coach Hallberg, and they come up with the big win against St. Olaf, and now they've got St. Ben's in another week, and that's going to be a huge one in terms of MIC playoff picture. They're right in the hunt at 4-5 right now. A win over St. Benedict gets them at 5-5, and really pretty much solidifies a spot in the conference playoffs. So there's a lot to play for in this last basically 2 weeks of the regular season, and they've got 2 non-conference matches, of River Falls and Northwestern, and then it's a big match a week from Saturday against St. Benedict. A win there should really secure a spot in the playoffs for them.
Now, with all of this unpredictable spring weather going on, has golf been able to get out there and see some action?
The women's golf team was in action this last weekend at Loris. Nice for Coach Moore because the men played at Loris last week, so he knew right where to go, knew the course a little bit, and you know, they did pretty well for the lineup that Coach Moore was able to put together. They did just fine, and you know, we've talked a lot about Caitlin Kling in the fall. She had a nice couple of rounds, 93-87, to lead the way for the Cardinals. So good to get them in action. The spring season's always tough, you know, and even for golf. I mean, you look at some of these days with the temperatures in the 40s, and that's tough to play golf in. And so they're doing a nice job. They've got this weekend off, both teams do, and then they'll close out the spring seasons the following weekend.
Well, the only spring sport we haven't covered yet, track and field. We'll do that next. Becca Dup will jump in here, and can she jump? We'll tell you more about that when we come back here on HBC, the Cardinals Nest.
We chose HBC because they're a local company. They have a big audience in Winona, which is the geographic group that we're looking for. Mel is very easy to work with. She's genuinely concerned about how our money is being spent, and she does everything she can to make sure we get the most for our money. She takes care of us. So whenever there's a problem, which is rarely, I know that I can go to her and she's going to take care of it.
To see how HBC advertising can help your company, call Melanie at 507-474-5802.
Welcome back to the Cardinals Nest here on HBC. Dean Beckman, Donnie Netto, and Becca Dup from the track and field team joining us. Becca is a sophomore at St. Mary's and long jump conference champion from the indoor season. And I know we can't get a close-up, but she is rocking the old school Converse All-Star tennis shoes. Do you jump in these,
No,
Becca?
I don't. I wish I could.
That would be awesome. So Becca, I said you're a sophomore, but tell us a little bit more about yourself. You're from Albert Lee, so maybe tell us how you got started in soccer, because you're also a soccer athlete at St. Mary's, along with track and field. How did you get involved in those two sports, and then why did you eventually come to St. Mary's from Albert Lee?
Right. So again, I'm from Albert Lee, Minnesota. I started playing soccer when I was about 10 years old. Family friend introduced it to me, and so I gave that a shot. My first game was absolutely terrible. I couldn't even kick a ball. Like it was. I remember my first game, like it was yesterday, and it was just absolutely terrible. I was scarred for life. But I decided to keep on going with it, and so I played that all through high school, and track and field came in play in about 7th grade, and for some reason, I just decided to go out for it. I didn't know anything about track, and I just knew that I was fast, so I was like, you know, I'll give it a chance, and that ended up going well in high school, and I just played both of them throughout.
Okay. So at what point in soccer, what was the turning point where you started out not so good, and then at what point did you say, maybe I could take this to another level?
I think it was right around 8th or 9th grade when we had the varsity tryouts. At first I was just playing summer league for Albert Lee in the summers, and so we had varsity tryouts for the school team, and I made varsity in 9th grade, and I thought, okay, well, I'm given a chance here, and so maybe I should take it. And I started scoring goals after goals after goals every game, and so I was like, you know, this is something that I would really love to do after college, or after high school, sorry. And so that's where I got really into soccer, and then track and field. Again, it was just with winning events, and I used to hurdle when I was little, and literally all I would do was just sprint in between each hurdle and hop over it. And I just thought it was really fun, and that's why I just continued doing it.
Yeah. So
how about the adjustment? Sorry, the adjustment from high school to college, especially from the soccer standpoint. Did you find it difficult early on to kind of adjust, because the game is so much different than it is at high school? It
was a little bit hard to adjust just because the playing style was a little bit different. I think in high school we just did a lot of kicking the ball forward and running after it type of thing, and in college it was more teamwork and passing and building up instead of just being super direct, and so I thought that was a little bit difficult for me, but with my team and my coach it was a lot easier to adjust to that and be able to play that way.
So I was going to ask, so why St. Mary's then? Because you're a psychology major. We have an excellent psychology program, so I'm sure that factored into it as well. Did you come here primarily for psychology and soccer? Was track and field initially in the mix? Tell us how you sort of got recruited to come to St. Mary's.
So I met Neil with my senior year of high school, Neil Cassidy, my soccer coach, and so he saw me as a recruit play in Rochester. And so that's how I discovered St. Mary's. I didn't know anything about it before, so it was really just for soccer. And then when I got here, I had an interest in psychology already, and so I decided that I'd be a psychology major and a soccer player. And originally, I did not have track in my mind at all. I had success in high school in track, but I also didn't see myself running in college. So when I moved to campus, I didn't bring my spikes with me. I was ready to leave that part of me behind. But then I met Niels Anderson, my track coach, and I decided that I would give it a shot.
Okay, so I'm sure he's pretty happy that you decided to give it a shot.
Well, and Donnie, I was going to ask you, I mean, it's a really unique story from that standpoint. I mean, all conference champion in the long jump, all region this past year. She was honorable mention last year. So what she's been able to do is incredible, considering that's not why she came here.
I think, and this is going to be my next question to her, the thing that's even more amazing is before last year, you had never long jumped before in your life, right?
Right, yeah. No, I was just a sprinter in high school. I never tried jumps. I never tried any field events. And Niels, when I first met him, he told me that he liked his sprinters to do a field event. And I said, well, you sound crazy because I've never done one before. And that's what I told him. And he said, well, I think you could be a top competitor in the long jump. And I said, Coach, I've never done this before. I'm not too sure about that. And so we gave it a shot for the first time, and I got into that all-time list, and that's when we looked at each other and we're like, okay, this is something that we should work on. This is something that could go well, and I just had to give him all the credit for that because he saw something in me that I didn't see in myself and that my previous coaches didn't see in me either. So it was just really awesome to build off of that.
So let's talk a little bit about the long jump because, I think that people need to understand the work that goes into preparing for the long jump competition. It's not just run down the runway and jump. There is a whole technique to it, and that's the part that Neil's probably had to really instill in you is the technique to long jump. Talk a little bit about that.
Exactly, yeah. So there's a lot of practices where we're doing builds on the runway, trying to get my mark down. There's a lot of technical work where, when you get off the board, you have to have the right knee drop. You have to let your leg drop and just all these technical things that I had no idea how to do. And so every week was something new. And so I always struggled with, I would learn one thing and I'd get it right, but then I'd forget how to do the other. And so it was a lot of relearning and learning. And Niels is really patient with me. And so the way we work together just really works out for us.
Talk a little bit about the indoor championships and kind of walk us through winning the long jump competition, because I know there is a kind of a neat story in how that unfolded.
Right. So I had a pretty great PR the week before conference, and so going into the championships I was seated first, and I had a little bit of a bug in my groin, like it was hurting a little bit and irritated, and so I was a little bit nervous going into it because jumpers can have either a good day or a bad day, you never actually know. And so I was seated, going into finals of the long jump, I was seated seated fourth, and there was 3 more jumpers after me. And so in the finals, I had jumped, and there was 3 more jumpers after me, and I had to sit there and watch them jump to see if they would beat me. And so I was kneeling down at the pit just watching and watching, and the very last jumper was behind by just a couple centimeters, if even. And so it was a lot of great competition and a lot of nerves. And after I won, I was so happy. I broke out in tears, and it was just an amazing experience.
And doing this, of course, as a sophomore, and then last week in lacrosse outdoor season, now you broke a couple of school records, and so tell us about that. One in the long jump, and then in the triple jump.
In the triple jump, yeah. So in the long jump, I just had a great PR, and I had the outdoor school record from last year. So anytime I PR will basically be another school record set, and so in the triple jump, I just decided to do that 2 weeks ago.
It's crazy.
Last year, Coach and I didn't even think about triple jump. We didn't think it was something that I'd be able to do. And so this year we started doing a lot of heavy plyos, and Coach was like, you should try triple jump. And I was like, okay, I'll try it. And so I did at our home meet, and that went pretty well. And so at lacrosse last weekend, I tried that again, and I just had a massive jump, and that got me to school record. That got me 8th in the nation right now for triple jump, and I think that's something that we're definitely going to keep going with this season.
Becca, is there a difference in the jumps from indoor to outdoor? Is there much of a difference between the two events?
It's the same jump, but things come into play like the weather and the wind. So your mark definitely gets mixed up with the wind. It can push you further so you can scratch or things like that. But the technique and everything else is basically the same for both jumps, I would say.
Are you focusing now more on your jumps, or are you still sprinting, or are you doing both? How is that?
I think this time around I'm more focused on my jumps just because I'm finding a lot of success in that. And so I'm slowly becoming more of a jumper than a sprinter, which is what I actually decided to join the team for. But I still do sprints, and I had success in the 60-meter dash indoor, and I'm running a sprint this weekend, so I'll be excited to do that.
So given all of your success as a sophomore, how far do you think this can go? What does this mean for off-season workouts and things like that? Have you started thinking that far ahead or not yet?
I know so far that just because I do play soccer, I'll be able to focus on that over the summer to go into the fall with that. But over the winter and my next 2 years here at St. Mary's for track, I think I have a lot of technical things to learn still, just because I just started triple jump 2 weeks ago. Long jump, it's only been a year. So there's a lot to learn still and a lot of improvement to happen, I believe as well. So.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit, as I mentioned in the first segment, talk a little bit about being a student athlete? Because for you, you're competing from August to May, but you still got to do all your studies. And as a psychology major, that's certainly, you have to be a great time manager.
Right. I set a lot of alarms. I take a lot of naps. I still get my work done. But the time management, I just try to do my homework before practice, go to practice, and then do more afterwards in the library until it closes most nights. But really, it's just about enjoying your athletics while, being able to keep up with your academics. And when you're good at time management, it's not too difficult.
And certainly next year as a junior and with your success in both sports, you'll be a leader on the team. So what advice do you have for maybe high school seniors who are watching right now, going to be making that transition to the college level soon? What advice would you have as you look back now on your freshman year?
I think one advice that I'd have is just to have fun with it and enjoy every opportunity that you have. Create close bonds with your teammates and your coaches, because that's the most important thing, I believe. It just makes it so much better and so much funner that way.
And then Becca, one final question. We mentioned earlier you're a psychology major.
Right.
I know graduation is a few years out yet,
Right.
but any thoughts as to what you might like to do with that in the future?
I think I'm going to go ahead and go to graduate school after St. Mary's here. Still undecided where.
Sure.
But eventually in my later life, I'd love to go get my PhD and become a clinical psychologist. So that's my long-term goal.
All right. So, well, at least short term, especially after this interview, Donnie, we're going to have the volleyball coach and the hockey coach and probably the softball coach lined up at her door because you just try something and it works perfectly.
That's
so,
right.
But Becca, thanks so much. Congratulations on your success so far, and good luck here in the near future.
Yes.
So,
Thank you for having me.
yep. All right, so stay tuned here to the Cardinals Nest. When we come back, we'll take a look at the week ahead in St. Mary's sports on HBC.
Cost Cutters of Winona presents Making the Grade, hosted by Interim Superintendent Kelly Halverson. Catch all the spotlight happenings in the Winona School District 861, featuring interviews with students and faculty members. Tune in to Making the Grade on HBC TV 25 at 7 a.m. and 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. Check your listings for additional weekend times. Presented by Cost Cutters of Winona, located at the Professional Building in the Winona Mall Annex.
And welcome back to the Cardinals Nest here on HBC TV 25 as we wrap up this program. And Donnie, we just had Becca Dup on the show, and I think maybe no more of a perfect example of a St. Mary's student athlete, right? I mean, clearly very bright and articulate and a terrific athlete in multiple sports.
Yeah, she really is. And the neat thing is that smile you saw on her face, she has that all the time. Whether she's competing on the soccer pitch or on the track or walking around campus, anytime you see her, she's got that smile. And she truly does love what she's doing, and she, enjoy the moment, as she said. And it's obvious that she's doing that right now. No matter what she's doing, she's certainly enjoying herself.
So as we close out the program, we take a look at the week ahead in St. Mary's athletics, and kind of a quiet week because of the Easter weekend coming up. So what do we have for St. Mary's?
Softball's got a couple of doubleheaders this weekend. You've got they're at home against Gustavus on Thursday, starting at 3:30, and then they head to McAllister on Friday for a doubleheader there. Baseball, weather permitting, plays St. Thomas at St. Thomas on Thursday, and then they've got St. Olaf here on Saturday before their Easter. They're off for Easter Day, and then track and field is at Gustavus this weekend for the Lee Crow Invitational. Hopefully, Becca will continue to excel there in the events that she's running in. And then tennis is next Wednesday. Has got a doubleheader against Northwestern, their last non-conference matches of the season. So busy week, but not quite as busy as we may get usually.
Right. So, but yeah, they got to get the games in because the seasons are definitely winding down. So that's going to do it for this program here on HBC. Thanks for watching the Cardinals Nest. Tune in again next week right here on TV 25.